That was awesome. Thank you, PJ. Welcome everybody to the 2020-21. How do I say that with a mouthful? AgriFuture Conference. You know, this is a conference that we love to do in person. We do it every other year, opposite of the Women's Ag Leadership Conference. This year, you know, as everybody knows, in 2020 we had to roll things along a little differently, and this year we chose to, even though the WALT conference was held earlier this year, we decided that we wanted to have some kind of an AgriFuture conference so we could lay the groundwork for next year in person and live and all the good things that come with that. And so today, I thought we would, and the committee that, and there's a lot of folks on the committee that planned for this, and I really want to say thank you to the entire committee. But several years ago when the ag census came out, it was pretty evident that we in New Mexico did not market directly to consumers. Only 6% of our agricultural producers market direct to the consumer. There's an opportunity that we might be missing. When COVID hit and everything shut down, what choice did we have? We had to figure out a way to market direct. And today we've got a group of presenters who are doing it, and they have been very successful in doing it. And I thought it would be a great opportunity to really showcase the talents that we have in the state and look at their successes, and also maybe discuss some of the challenges that they've had in marketing direct to the consumers. Because I think as New Mexico agriculture continues to grow, that's how we're going to have to do it. And that's touching and reaching our consumers. Everybody around the world, and when I travel either around the state, around the nation, or even around the world, people know about New Mexico food and cuisine. And that's a real tribute to our producers and our processors and our restaurants and everybody who's involved in the food and agriculture sector. So that's what today's conference is all about. I'm grateful that you all have taken the time to participate today. And I think to kick things off, we are going to start with some door prizes, and our friend Zach from NMDA, Zach Barella, is going to start us off with 3 door prizes.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Yep, let's go ahead and get this AgriFuture conference started with a couple door prizes. I wanted to make a quick announcement that these prizes will be shipped or delivered to the winners following the event. These first door prizes were provided by the Rocky Mountain Farmers Union. This door prize includes a bar of Mountain Women's soap and either 2 coasters or a keychain from the Black Smuggler Winery. So a little background of these products. The Mountain Women's soap is made with cow's milk and comes from Terra McKinley in Omega, New Mexico. It is available online or by phone orders. And the Black Smugglers Winery is near Bosque, New Mexico, on the Socorro-Valencia County line. Tony and Marianne Black bought the winery a little over 10 years ago. He grows grapes on the property of the winery and across the interstate of the valley. They also buy other New Mexico grapes for their wines. So let's go ahead and switch over to the wheel of names to see who our winners will be. Okay, so let's go ahead and tap to spin for the first winner. Awesome, Noah Sweets, you're our first winner. If you could please go ahead and let us know that you're present by messaging us in the chat box, or go ahead and hit the raise hand button within the reactions button. Or if you're participating today via phone, please unmute yourself and let us know that you're present. And if Laura isn't present, we'll go ahead and spin again.
I don't see her.
Oh, we do have a comment in the chat. So we're gonna, Laura gave this to Penny as a gift. So we'll let that qualify. So Brittany, if you want to just mark down Penny for Laura, Laura Sweets.
Perfect.
Is LES Laura?
Let's see. LES says I am present. Is that Laura? You can either unmute and just let us know you're here.
Who did that land on?
Laura Sweets.
Laura Sweet.
Is that you?
No.
Okay. Let's see.
Christy, they did comment in the chat feature that says I am present.
Okay.
No.
I think we're good to go on to the next one then, Zach.
Perfect. Let's go ahead and spin for our second winner from the Rocky Mountain Farmers Union. Awesome. And our second winner is Joram Robs. Again, if you could please let us know that you're present within the chat box, or go ahead and unmute yourself if you're participating via telephone.
I'm present.
Awesome. Congratulations, Joram.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and spin for the final door prize for this round. Awesome. Is Jolene Otero present?
I am here.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. With that, I'll go ahead and kick it back to Jeff.
All right. Thank you, Zach. And are you going to turn off your screen? Thank you, sir. All right, that's a great way to start this conference. You know, next, and I get to introduce one of my favorite people, and that's Heather Solopek. Heather is an entrepreneur and owner of Legacy Pecans and is deeply rooted in the Mesilla Valley, where she is a fourth generation New Mexican. After representing the U.S. pecan industry worldwide in Dubai, Paris, China, and probably a few other places, Heather returned to her roots where she started Legacy Pecans in 2014. Today, Legacy Pecan serves customers nationwide through e-commerce, welcomes new faces daily at the retail store in the Mesilla Plaza, and helps large corporations strengthen and cultivate their business relationships through its corporate gifting program. In the midst of COVID-19 pandemic, Heather launched the Enchanted New Mexico Box. The Enchanted New Mexico Box is a curated monthly subscription box of all New Mexico made products to address the unique challenge faced by local vendors struggling with the lack of foot traffic in their stores during the pandemic. Enchanted New Mexico Box delivers our community to your doorstep. And with that, let's welcome Heather.
Thank you, Jeff, for that introduction. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the opportunity to curate these boxes for this event. It's kind of shoot off of Enchanted. And this is what we're able to do when our community comes together and we truly deliver our community to the doorsteps of everyone in the nation. So we'll start off with our Legacy Pecans. If you want to grab those out of your boxes. And this is our roasted salted flavor. And I'll give everyone a little bit of time to do that. This is my personal favorite snack throughout the day. I love the roasted salted flavor, but we do have 8 different flavors. We have our milk chocolate, dark chocolate, and white chocolate. We have honey toasted and roasted salted and cinnamon. And then we also have our New Mexico flavors of red chili and green chili. And those fly off the shelf. Our customers come in and love those. I will say I do not manufacture any of the products. That was a decision that I decided to make early on when I started my business. And I don't manufacture any of the products, but they are all Solopek pecans that are used in anywhere from our brittle to our peach sauces to the actual flavored pecans. Oh, sorry, those chats were throwing me off. So that is our roasted salted pecans. But something that we talk about is our marketing and the different angles we use in that. And the marketing strategy for me throughout my entire business has been to educate, to connect, and to collaborate. Those are the 3 pillars I kind of stand by and use as I go throughout my marketing. When I talk about education, it is interesting to me how many people walk into my store and have no idea that New Mexico produces pecans. So that's our first challenge right there, is we really have to educate them. Like, you are in the mecca of the Mesilla Valley pecan producing county, and it is still a shock to you that we grow pecans. So the first few minutes that people are in the store, or when you read our website and we talk about our story, is all about that we are New Mexico grown. Because you can't try to share our story if people don't even know where we come from, where our background is. So that's the first part of our strategy, is really to educate our consumers and then to connect with them. This is a family business. We've been operating in the Mesilla Valley for 4 generations. So if you look at the back of your package, it talks about our family. It talks about our story. And honestly, this was in the midst of some of our COVID stuff. So y'all may have a plain label like mine does, but most of the packages have our story on the back of it, and it talks about our family and where we come from. And that's your connection piece. Is a challenge that we have in agriculture is we grow a commodity product. So for most consumers, they don't look at the variations of a pecan. For a normal consumer, a pecan is a pecan is a pecan. It doesn't really make a huge difference to them if it's Western Sly or Pawnee or what variety it is. So to be able to put our story on it and why these pecans are grown with such diligence and love and care and good techniques and management practices, all of that is part of connecting with the consumer. We also have a video that's shown through our store that shows the process of our harvesting, of our growing, of our family out in the orchards, and it's that connection piece. And that is something that we really strive for through our marketing, is sharing our story. You're not just buying a package of pecans, you're really purchasing a labor of love. And then our third pillar is to collaborate. And what do I mean by that? This is kind of what came out of the Enchanted boxes, and I'll talk a little bit about that and how we had to change our marketing strategy with COVID. But we really try to collaborate with the community. We collaborate with New Mexico Department of, or NMSU. They do our gelato, our pecan pies. They do some pecan sandy cookies for us. But that's another marketing angle, that we're not just focused on the products we produce, we're focused on rising our community together. And when you collaborate with other producers and other entities such as NMSU, you really can rise the tide together. How we had to pivot during COVID. COVID hurt bad. We were shut down for 12 weeks. We didn't have people coming through the drop of a hat. We had to close our doors, but that didn't mean I didn't have shelves full of product with nobody to buy it. And so I really had to do some strategic thinking on how to move that product in a way that my consumers could reach it in a safe environment. And that's how I came up with Enchanted New Mexico box. And that's what these boxes are, which is very similar to the ones that y'all received. But this was really pulling the community together to deliver our community to your doorstep. And in each one of them, it was a rack card is provided and talks about each of the products. And this is kind of goes back to the connection part, is it's not all about the product, but it's the story behind them. It's the people behind them. And during COVID especially, everyone wanted to come together and support one another and support these struggling businesses. So that was a way that we had to pivot to be able to get our products to our consumers in a safe environment. That's a little bit of the marketing strategy that I've carried on throughout Legacy. The direct to the consumer, of course, my store plummeted during COVID, but we saw a major increase in our online sales. And then with Enchanted, the response of the consumers was overwhelming. Every time I would put out a new box, a new offering, we would sell out. My Christmas boxes, I think I put out 3 different offerings and they sold out within 24 hours each time. And it was unbelievable. So that just goes to show that the consumers really do want our products. We as producers need to work to make it easy for them and available to them and get our products directly to our consumers, because the demand is out there without a doubt. That's about all I have on our products and a little bit of our marketing strategy. I will open it up for questions if anybody has a specific question, or Jeff, if you have a question that you're dying to ask, I am more than willing to answer.
All right. Are there any questions out there in the Zoom land?
This is Suzanne Mickelson, and I just wanted to ask if you could share a little bit about your shipping arrangements, and if you made any particular arrangements, or what research you had to go to find the best options and the most integrity for your product?
Sure. Yes. So thankfully, I was already set up for shipping. So I didn't have to make a lot of changes there. I did learn with the boxes a lot of the packing material. If you see, you have the peanuts and the bubble wrap around it. So there were little things like that that I had to learn along the way of how to ship products that were not mine. And I think that's a little bit of trial and error. But on a logistical side, I use Shopify to run the back end of my my business, and they are set up for shipping in any way you possibly need. I also collaborated with Randy McMillan, that you'll talk to here in a bit, and working on some bulk shipping there. So we did have to make some adjustments, but for the most part, I was fortunate that I was already set up for shipping. My volume just increased.
Heather, we have another question from the chat. Sean asks, not sure if you can answer this, but are the majority of your consumers for the boxes from New Mexico, or is it nationwide?
Yes, absolutely. I can answer that. Surprisingly, it is outside of New Mexico. And I think that's what the most exciting part about this project is a lot of the people who purchased the boxes were from New Mexico, but they were being shipped out. They were being shipped as gifts to people outside of New Mexico. So it was people who loved the product and would ship them as gifts to people who had moved away or to family members that they want to share the product with. So there were a few producers that I worked with in the collaboration of the boxes that they had a big increase in their sales from out of the states where they typically didn't have customers. And so that was neat to see the direct effect of that.
Great, and I think Jamie has a question. Sorry, Jeff.
Oh, that's okay. We went to the same place.
Yeah. Hi, Heather. This is the second box I've received of yours, and they have both been so amazing. I love what you're doing here. And I just had a question. How do you go about selecting vendors or people to work with? Do you have a certain process on like questions you ask or certain products that you prefer? How do you go about your selection?
Absolutely. So when I initially started my first box, it was all personal connections that I used. Thankfully, with the homegrown event that NMDA puts on, I am able to meet so many producers across the state. And through that event, I had a lot of personal connections that I could tap into when I did this box. So that was the first list. I made several lists, and that was the first list I did, was my personal connections that I knew that I loved their product. I knew it was a reputable business, and I knew that they were able to fulfill the demand I needed. So that was the first one. And then as my business grew throughout COVID, we had a submission form where if you had a product that you wanted in the box, you could send me samples, and we would vet it that way. So I had people send in samples. I got introduced to so many new products over the state of New Mexico that I didn't even know existed. So that was another way. And then of course, on a business side of it, I had certain price points that I had to hit. So even though I wanted some products in it, maybe the price point wasn't viable for what I was able to ship out. So they were vetted that way. So it was very much so, did those price points fit in the box? Was the product something that we could physically fit in the box? With shipping, because that's another thing is, all the products are a different weight and different size. So you have to kind of coordinate all of that to reach a certain shipping price. And then we kind of went through that way.
Thank you so much. Well, you're doing a great job.
Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate it.
I'm Kim O'Byrne, and I thank you so much for this. This is a fantastic idea. As an educator, I'm extremely interested to find out how you think we can prepare kids, students, to be ready to take on some of these new exciting challenges and prospects of sharing New Mexico agriculture. That really excites me.
Absolutely. I think it kind of goes back to my own marketing strategy. Number one is educate them. If we're not bringing this into the classroom, then how are they going to know? So I think that's the big thing, is really bringing these opportunities into the classroom and educating them on what is out there. So whether it's a day seminar or, getting maybe a box shipped to your class every day and talking about each one of these different businesses and having the students learn about the possibilities that are out there, I think that that's really our first plan of attack of getting them excited, is really educating them on what's out there.
All right. I think if there's more questions, I'd encourage you to type them up in the thing and in the chat, and we'll roll them along, and Heather can answer them, or others can answer them direct. Heather, you made one comment at the beginning that, people come into the Mesilla Valley and they don't realize they're in the #1 pecan producing county in the world, here in the Las Cruces area in Doña Ana County. You are changing that. You are changing that for all of us. And we're really proud of what you're doing. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Well, are you gonna introduce Randy, or am
I think we kick it over to Zach for a few more door prizes.
Ready for another door prize. So yeah, this next door prize was provided by the New Mexico Beef Council, and it includes a grilling basket. So we'll go ahead and shift on over to the Wheel of Names to get our lucky winner. Here we go. Congratulations. Is Shane Watt present? If so,
I am here.
Awesome. Congratulations, Shane.
Thank you.
With that, I'll pass it back to Heather to introduce our next speaker.
Perfect. Our next speaker is Mr. Randy McMillan. He is the owner of Fresh Chili Company. Randy was one of the companies that I used in my very first Enchanted box because I had a personal relationship with him. And I personally am a huge fan of his products, as are so many of us. Randy has done a phenomenal job with his products, and it is amazing to see the rate that this man comes out with new products, new variations, new offerings. So I'm just as excited to hear from Randy as the rest of y'all are. Randy McMillan.
Thank you, Heather. Hear me okay?
If you're really close to the mic, yes, we can hear you. And if you'll speak up, that'd be great.
Okay, we're having some internet problems at my office, and so I just had to get back on. But thank you very much. I think they have a video that they're going to show that kind of introduces our company and tells quite a bit about it, and does a better job than I could right now. So are you going to share that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
When I was a little boy, my dad used to make this phenomenally good red enchilada sauce. And it was made out of fresh red chilies instead of dried red chilies. And nobody else made it that way. We would go out to the farm and Hatch or close to our house and buy fresh red chili and take it home, and we would boil it, run it through a blender and a colander, and it would come out this beautiful bright red, sweet, hot sauce. And it just made the best enchiladas ever. When I got into the real estate business, which was, hate to say 40 years ago, I wanted to give my customers a gift at Christmas time that was from New Mexico, and there was something that I made. I hated getting calendars in the mail at Christmas. I wanted to give something special. we're in the commercial real estate business, so most of our customers were from out of town, and getting something from New Mexico was interesting to them, and I just wanted to do it. So we would make this red chili in the fall, because that's the only time you can make it. Probably why nobody else makes it this way, because they can make it with dry chili year round, but this fresh chili is only available for about 6 weeks. And so we'd make our chili during that time.
And the kids would help.
And the kids would help, yeah. And it was a family, made a party out of it. And we would can it. And then we would, at Christmas time, send it to our real estate customers. I knew it was good because I loved it. We would eat it once a week. And our friends would say, can you make those red enchiladas for us? And then when our customers, real estate customers, started calling and saying, you know, I really appreciate the jar, but can you send us a case? And they were serious. We heard that enough times. And we said, you know, what the heck, let's take our recipe and our product to a food processor. For the first year, we made 10,000 jars, which I thought was a humongous amount of chili. And the most we'd ever made before was 800 jars, which we did at the Gospel Rescue Mission using their kitchen, because that was too much for our kitchen. And we did that. That was the last year we made it non-commercially and sent it to our friends and relatives and customers.
Took us all day.
Yeah. We found a food processor who would make it for us. They made 10,000 jars. That's about 5 years ago, I think. The next year, I think we did another 10,000 jars. For about 3 or 4 years, it was a hobby, and we would sell it here and sell it there and go to a trade show, go to wineries, and we just had fun with it. And then we decided to get serious about the business. Enough people were giving us feedback, and I think we were doing 20,000 jars a year. And in 2018, we kind of took serious the internet marketing aspect of the business. We started working on the website and working on Facebook a little bit more and things like that. First employee was Sarah Hartzell. We used to ship the chili from a little office, like 300 square feet.
It was like a closet. It was like a really long little closet.
And she'd have, 4 or 5 girls in there helping package and so on. So we started selling more and more chili, and we started needing the food processor. Instead of 1 day a month, it became 1 day a week. Then it became 2 days a week, and then it was 3 days a week. And the food processor we were working with, she just said, Randy and Carol, we're going to have to either fire you as a customer or fire 5 other customers, and I'm not going to fire 5 other customers. So he said, you need to find some other way to make your product. So we started looking, trying to find other processors. No one could take on what we wanted to do. And Carol and I had to make some tough decisions there as to, we couldn't find anybody else to make it for us. We either had to shut this company down or find a way to make it ourselves, huh?
We spent a lot of time thinking about it too.
Thinking and praying.
After that, we put together a facility. It's here in Las Cruces. It's right behind the Crunch Fitness. If you're familiar with what that is, I'm sure those of you from out of town are not. But it was an old grocery store, and we rented it, put in a bunch of food processing equipment and roasters and so on, and that's where we are making it every day today, and we've kind of expanded the products. We now make a couple of great barbecue sauces that are based with the red chili instead of tomato, which is a normal base for barbecue. We're sold out of the red chili that video was talking about. It's called the Fresh Red. Again, we can only make that about 6 weeks out of the year. It has to be from hatch. It has to be fresh. It has to be red. And so that takes you to a very short window. And I think that's really why no one else makes it, because all other red chili is made from dried chili pots, and it's got just a little bit of a different taste. I like it. We also make a sun-dried chili, red chili sauce as well. But the fresh is kind of what took the company and that we started with. We have a red and green blend, and we're about to have a second barbecue sauce. That the first one was sweet, and the second one's coming out this next week, and it's more of a savory barbecue sauce. But anyway, that's kind of the story. We enjoy taking our customers to the farm. If you go to our Facebook page, you can find 1,000 videos from the farm and from our home or from the vineyard or whatever we're doing. We tend to do 1 or 2 videos a day. For some reason, people like them. They like my daughter Jenna more than they like me, so she's on there quite a bit. And she works at the chili plant. I have a daughter that has Down syndrome, and she's almost 40 years old, and she goes to work every day and helps make that chili, and she's a lot of fun, and we take videos with her. So anyway, it's a family business. It really is my dad's recipe. He's 92 years old, and we had a great Father's Day with him yesterday, so he's with us, and we're blessed. So be glad to take some questions at the appropriate time, and thanks for having me as part of this. Thank you.
All right. Any questions for Randy? Randy, I'm going to start off with one. And I've heard some of your discussion on some of your videos, but can you tell the group how you market and why you decided to market the way you do?
We started doing a lot of Facebook advertising, and as you know, Facebook is very expensive. And we still do some of it, but we got a pretty strong base out there that seemed to like to watch these videos from the farm and from the various things that we're doing. And so that's really how we do it. And when we also have a large email list of people that are interested in the product. We have over 100,000 customers who have enjoyed the product, and they tend to get hooked on it, and they keep ordering it again and again. Chili really does have an addictive aspect to it. It's not a bad addiction, but it is an addiction. It's a true story. It's got things in it that are addictive, and so people continue to buy it and order it, and we continue to do videos and show them the farm and what's happening this year. And we went up to the lake the other day when they were turning the water on, and people around the country, they didn't know that some rivers get turned off, and our river does get turned off, and then we turn it back on the 1st of June. And so I was standing in the river and watching the water come down and go over my feet, and people they kind of enjoy seeing that aspect of the farm and how it works here in New Mexico. So that's how we do it. So.
I think it's important to note that you're really, like Heather, really connecting to your customers and showing that family background, but the history and the culture as well.
Yeah, last Father's Day, we came out with our salsa, which the name of it's Papa Salsa. And it really is my dad's salsa. Every Sunday, he chops up a bunch of green chili and a bunch of red chili and a little potato and onion and some lime and brings it over. So people kept asking us for a salsa. And last Father's Day, we released Papa Salsa. And it was the biggest day our company has ever had then and still. And there's a video about that salsa up there, about my dad. And some of the pictures you saw in that other video of my dad as well. And, so I owe a lot to him, both in my real estate business, but also in this chili business, the things that he has allowed me to share with other people.
It looks like Delene Hodnett has a question. Delene?
I do, Randy. I just want to congratulate you on the Stroke of Genius QR code on your jar so that I can find recipes. And we'll be making this fresh red barbecue rib tonight. So that is an amazing way to show your customers how to use that product. So thank you so much.
Very welcome. And that reminds me of another Facebook page we have, which is called Fresh Chili Cooking. COOKIN. And I think there's 25,000 members there that are customers of the company. And every day you'll see 5 or 10 new videos of recipes that our customers share with each other. You can't buy anything on that page. There's nothing for sale on that page. It's just a group of customers that have enjoyed our product and they share with each other different ways to use it. It's become kind of a community. So if you like the ribs that you make, you might go to that Fresh Chili Cooking Facebook page and find some more recipes.
I just did. That is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, our customers are amazing. We used to have to think about recipes and content and things like that, and our customers just jumped in there and took hold of this. And I'm not kidding. Every day there are a number of recipes that are shared, and then we give away a free case of chili every week to the recipe that wins. And there's some pretty stiff competition, I'll tell you. And so they really have a good time with it.
Randy, that website or Facebook page is impressive with how much content is shared all the time. How can you speak to a little bit of how you got that page started initially? Was there some type of giveaways? Like, what was your marketing strategy or even the thought process behind starting that page?
I had a friend from college, and his name's Scott Deegan, and he had a internet marketing company, and he basically encouraged me to let him, try to start this, and he did the web page, and he got us up and running. And then Chris Lang, who owns Oregon Mountain Outfitters, has taken that over, and he works full time. He used to have some pretty strong contracts with the hospital here in town and other people, and so he's a partner with me now. He gets up every morning thinking about how to sell chili on the internet, and so a lot of credit needs to go to him. And Chris Lang does a great job for us, but he concentrates every day on what do we need to do. And then we have a very good chef. I'm a chef wannabe. I go down there and play, but we have a great chef. His name is John Hard, and he is in the Chili Hall of Fame. I don't know if you know, there is one of those. He has a ring on his finger that looks like a Super Bowl ring, and I don't know how many products he has taken to market over the years. He's from Ohio, actually, but he's moved here and retired, and he was a customer. I ran into him in front of the building, and so he's gone to work with us as a consultant, and so it's a real team effort. But Chris is in charge of the internet page, and our customers are in charge of that Facebook chili cooking, Fresh Chili Cooking page, and I think they have a lot to do with it too. So. and bottom line, if you love something, it is so easy to sell it. And I love chili. I just love it, and other people love this product. I just got back from a food show in Dallas, where there were 150 companies, and I'm not tooting my horn. I'm tooting Hatch Chili horn. We just won everything. I mean, it was not everything, but the #1 salsa, the #1 barbecue. I mean, you just go on and on. They didn't have a sauce for enchiladas. They didn't have a category for that, so we put our enchilada sauce in the wing sauce, and we won the #1 wing sauce. So anyway, Hatch Chili is just so good. When you get it out in people's hands and in their mouth, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. They love it, and they keep coming back. So.
All right. Thank you, Randy. We better, I appreciate your presentation. And if there's other questions, they can show up in the chat box and we will answer them there. Heather, am I turning it back to you now? Or are we going to Zach? We're going to Zach.
Couple more door prizes. So yeah, these next 2 door prizes were provided again by the Rocky Mountain Farmers Union. They include the soap, the coasters, or the keychain. So we'll go ahead and spin the wheel. Congrats, Casey Hale. If you're present, please send us a message in the chat or unmute yourself. I'm not seeing anything in the chat. Should we go ahead and spin again?
I thought I saw her get on. Casey,
She-
you on?
She's on. I
Yeah.
see her thing on. She's signed in, Zach.
Okay. We'll go ahead and, well, congrats, Casey. We'll go ahead and spin the wheel for our next winner. Next winner is Rex Ricketts. Congrats, Rex. Please let us know if you're present.
I don't see Rex.
We'll go ahead and spin again. Karina Costa present.
I'm here.
Awesome. Congrats, Karina.
Thank you.
So I'll pass it back to Jeff to introduce our next speaker.
All right. Next, we've got Rick and Ellen Roby. They are the owners of Fat Man's Beef Jerky. They have been married for 39 wonderful years. I'm just going to assume that it's 39 years total, right? They're all wonderful. They moved from California to New Mexico in 1990 to raise cows from the growing dairy relocations in Southern California to New Mexico and West Texas. They sold their cattle company in 2005. They also owned the only USDA slaughter plant at the time in Roswell, New Mexico. Upon marketing the raw cuts of meat for their packing house, they got the idea to start making a better beef jerky than what is typically available in stores. In 2006, they started Fat Man's Beef Jerky, which was named after Rick's father, as Rick would always call him Fat Man instead of Dad, as it was an affectionate term. They were very close, and Rick always said it with a smile on his face. And frankly, it sounded better than Rick's beef jerky. Ellen developed the recipes for all 21 of the flavors they manufacture. Their product is currently available in all 50 states, and they sell wholesale to stores who resell to their products to the customers. They can also sell retail direct to consumers from their website at www.fatmansbeefjerky.com. So Rick, am I turning it over to you? You're on mute, sir.
How about now?
Perfect.
I'm a dinosaur, so I apologize. This is the first time my son set me up. He's a tech and kind of a geek, and he set me up. So I'm fortunate. I'm glad to be with you guys. We started Fat Man's Beef Jerky after I sold my cattle company, as you spoke about, with the idea of making a better product. Something hit home that Heather spoke about was her marketing strategy. Initially, we just thought we'd made a better product and we could put it in all the stores and it would outsell the products that were in there. And we were really wrong. And we suffered for a few years with production and with distribution for the simple reason that we missed out on the number one marketing strategy that we should have used, which is the word connect. And in 2010, we started going to trade shows and connecting with individuals who owned companies. Typically, we would market to convenience stores and to other places where you typically see jerky sold. But that market is already bought and paid for with rebates and different things that keeps you out of the large markets. So we decided to start marketing to farm and ranch stores. We were marketing through a local company here called Roswell Farm and Supply. They were selling my product and selling it quite well. and it was moving well. And they invited me to a trade show in Kansas City called Wheat Belt, which is a 600 store farm and ranch throughout the United States, mostly in the Midwest, that they were a member of. We became a vendor. We picked up those accounts and we got to meet our customers one-on-one. I would do the trade shows myself, so I could meet the owners of the store, even though they're part of a co-op. They're individually owned, most of them, similar to like Roswell Farm and Supply and Livestock and Supply. So by doing that, we found that by connecting with the stores, we could then control our marketing, we could control our pricing, and we weren't competing with the large companies for the convenience store business. And that led to us finding some hardware stores. We became a vendor with Ace Hardware. We're a drop ship vendor. We have over 500 Ace Hardwares throughout the United States that we drop ship to. Again, we go to the trade shows. They're typically in large towns, whether it be Las Vegas or Orlando or Dallas or Kansas City, wherever it might be. We do the show. We meet our customers. We connect with them. And by connecting with them, we can then keep our market share and keep developing it. And beef jerky is the kind of product similar to, I think, Randy and probably even Heather, that people talk, they share about it. Word of mouth is the #1 marketing strategy for Fat Man's Beef Jerky. Once they taste the product, it's so different. It's a home style beef jerky. It's different than the products in the convenience store. And as we're in these hardware stores, people walk in and they'll actually stop into the hardware store to purchase the product just because they're going on a trip or going to be farming for the day, or just because if they like that style of beef jerky. With our marketing strategy going quite well, then we just started developing more flavors. My wife had made green chili beef jerky because my daughter had married a local green chili farmer here in Roswell, Graves Farm. And they would argue that their green chili is better than the other green chilies made in New Mexico, but that's a whole nother argument. We produced Fat Man's Beef Jerky, which you can see is a simple label and in a clear bag. And that was my marketing strategy. I don't have a degree in it. I just know when I would purchase products, I wanted to see the product I was buying. And we wanted to put a sliced product in a clear bag with a bright label so consumers would see it, acknowledge it, and then take a look at it. If they wanted commercial beef jerky, it's available in every store throughout the United States. We wanted to be different. We wanted to make a different color. We did the green chili, then obviously we had to go with the red chili with a red label. Then my wife developed jalapeno lime. And again, the whole strategy was different colors for different products. This is a teriyaki and an orange label. We make a lemon pepper and a yellow label. We make a habanero and a blue label for the being hot. And so as we marketed our products and kept developing markets for it, we decided to build a building along with the town of Hagerman in a rural area outside of Roswell. We have a 6,000 square foot facility that's dedicated to just jerky production. We make 21 different flavors, as you mentioned, with the idea of having a unique product line in, whether it be a hardware store, farm and ranch. We've now even went into sporting goods stores. We're throughout the United States. We do a trade show called NBS, and it's in Fort Worth. And we get to meet the customers. The one other connection, and again, this goes back to something that Heather said. After 2011 and developing the company and developing the business, I decided every time I had a secretary or someone else answer the phone, there was so much confusion with these customers that I'd connected with. So I decided in 2012 to take every phone call. And still to this day, I answer every phone call. If you call, it's forwarded to my mobile. Now, I do have staff that helps me with the business. I have staff who do all the work, basically. But I connect with every one of my customers. They know me personally. They've met me in person. And then if they have an issue, because they own their own company, and a good example was somebody called today from Swansboro, North Carolina, who sells my product. He's been with me about 8 years. It's called Waters Ace Hardware. And Carl said, "Hey, Rick, we had a problem with one of the bags. It opened from the bottom. It didn't seal correctly. And occasionally that will happen in the amount of production that we do. So I said, okay, on your next order, I'll just send you a bag. And he commented, wow, I'm just so glad to be able to connect with or talk to somebody who owns the company. I own my company. And when I call places, I'm getting all these different phone messages, and you enter in initials for certain people and certain extensions. And that was just something. And again, that's just one connection. There's so many others you do by having that personal connection of meeting them at the shows, introducing your product. They're talking to other people. And the last thing I will share with you, and I'll make it brief, when I started marketing my product, one of the things I did, I put my name of the company, and I put my website, and I put my phone number at the top of the bag. So by being in 50 states, and we're in the Marshall Islands, wherever those are as well, a hardware store has it, and I have no idea where it is, but and we're in Hawaii, we're in Alaska, but people will then pick up a bag of jerky, buy it, and as they read, they look at it, and if they like this style of product and they like the flavorings, they'll go online to my website and purchase product retail. And I protect my wholesalers by charging the same amount of money that they're charging for the bags, and these customers have to pay shipping. So by protecting my wholesalers, they don't get upset that I'm advertising, but I'm basically advertising in every state for free, because anybody who wants the product can then go buy it retail. And obviously, when I ship out wholesale, there's a lot better margin when I sell the product retail. So we're a mixture of retail and wholesale throughout the United States. The company has grown. We keep adding equipment. We keep adding employees. We keep making more product. Currently, we slice 1,000 pounds of raw product a day, and we produce 400 pounds of beef jerky a day, and that's cooked product. And we're about 3 weeks behind with our orders right now, which is not making a lot of my customers happy, but the market has exploded, and especially with COVID and some of the issues that have come about, we're seeing a lot of people want shelf-stable products, and our product has no preservatives on it. We don't add a preservative to it. It's all natural, but in our ingredients, we have certain products that have preservatives in them, like lemon pepper has lemon juice, and there's a preservative in the lemon juice. So we can't go claim that our product is all natural on its label, but we add no preservatives. So that way, when someone eats it, they're tasting real beef. And because I was in the cattle business for 35 years, I'm really a beef guy. And I love the jerky business. I miss the cattle. I don't miss all the employees I had all those years. That was a lot of work. So that's my story. Fat Man's Beef Jerky is doing quite well now. It took a different marketing strategy than what I had planned on initially, but I did adapt, and my wife and I still run the company, and she still designs recipes. So our latest one is going to be called caramel beef jerky, and we're still experimenting with making it, but we're going to be adding it to our arsenal. And with just those different flavors alone of the 21 flavors, that's what attracts people in a hardware store, because again, we're not competing in commercial beef jerky. So I'll open it up for any questions.
All right, any question? I think there is one in the chat to start us off with. Randy McMillan's asking, how do you manufacture your product?
We have state-of-the-art ovens. We have 6 current ovens that we use. They're stainless steel ovens. They're all USDA approved. We cook in what's called a jerky truck. We lay out the product, we slice, marinate, and then lay out, and then we cook into the jerky truck. We currently cook 4 times a day. It takes 3 hours per production. We cook the product to 160 degrees in order to kill every bacteria, if there was any. That will kill every pathogen that is known, and the product comes out. It's safe and sanitary, and it is delicious. And we then package it and then drop ship it to our stores that have placed orders with us.
All right, any other questions? And Bevan Singa says, Dougie says hi, Rick.
Yeah, there's some dairy folks down here, and she's head of the New Mexico dairy producers, I think, isn't she?
Yes.
Good friend.
All right, any other questions for Rick? I've been sampling your product. If you ever need a taste tester, I'm in. All right, I'm not seeing any. Is anybody else? Christy, are you seeing any questions? I don't want to miss anybody.
I don't see any other questions for Rick, Jeff.
All right, Rick, you've got an amazing product and a great marketing strategy. It's obviously it's working for you. So congratulations and keep it up. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to turn it back to Zach for another door prize winner.
Good, yeah. So this next door prize was provided by the Dairy Producers of New Mexico. It includes a 4-pack of chocolate and vanilla core power, a $50 Domino's gift card, a $50 Cold Stone Creamery gift card, a $25 Dunkin' gift card, and a New Mexico Milk license plate. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel. Congratulations, Kim. The present, please unmute yourself or send us a chat.
Kim, are you still on? She's there. Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Zach.
Congratulations. Enjoy.
All right, I'm going to kick it over to Kay for our next introduction.
Hey, all right, let's get started with some dairy. Tara is a dairy farmer and a New Mexico native, growing up on her family farm in eastern New Mexico. Now Tara and her husband Daniel dairy farm along with their 2 young daughters. Tara has worked as an environmental scientist for the last 9 years on dairy farm projects throughout the Southwest. As a project manager, she assists her clients with state and federal regulatory compliance, water conservation, sustainable management practices, and analytical reports. She provides direction to producers on environmental concerns with permits. And as a certified NRCS technical service provider, Tara is able to assist producers with nutrient and irrigation management. Tara also serves as a farmer member on the Innovation Center for U.S. Dairy's Board, Dairy Sustainability Alliance, and as a governor-appointed board member for the New Mexico Livestock Board. Tara's passion is advocating for modern dairy farming by sharing her story about life on her family dairy through her blog, New Mexico Milkmaid, and her social media platforms. By using her voice, she hopes to change people's perceptions of farmers and dairy farming. New Mexico Milkmaid now has a community of more than 40,000 followers, and she has had the opportunity to speak at national and global conferences about dairy sustainability, including at the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization Committee on the World Food Security and the Forbes Ag Tech Summit. Tara also serves as the president of United Dairy Women, a charity committed to providing local New Mexico children's homes with the recommended 3 servings of dairy a day for the entire year. United Dairy Women has raised more than $1.3 million to further their causes. Tara graduated magna cum laude with a BS in Soil, Water, and Environmental Science from the University of Arizona with a focus on both policy and law and soil chemistry. Tara, we are so happy to have you with us. Go for it.
Hey, thank you for having me on. I'm excited to share with you guys today. So in your box, you should have a bottle of Core Power. I'm not sure if you guys got chocolate, vanilla, or maybe one of the other flavors. There's strawberry banana, lots of flavors. Oh, okay, which one is it? Jeff is holding it up. Oh, the chocolate. Oh, good. My favorite. The chocolate is so good. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys a little bit about Core Power and the parent company Fairlife. So I'm a member of Select Milk Producers. And as Kay mentioned, I'm a dairy farmer here in New Mexico, born and raised my whole life on a farm in New Mexico. And my husband's family is a member of Select Milk Producers. Select Milk Producers is a co-op that was started in New Mexico that is the creators of Fairlife and Core Power. So this has been like a long time coming, this product. It has a long history that may surprise a lot of people, but Select Milk Producers was actually established in 1994 by some dairy farmers that just wanted to do things a little bit differently and innovate with some products. And so what started out as Athlete's Honey Milk evolved into what you are now holding as Core Power. Along that way, we actually started a parent company called Fairlife that would go on to develop lots of different products. It is now a national brand. And so Core Power is just one of the SKUs that we have, as well as, we have regular milk, all sorts of different heavy creamers that you put in your coffee. We have ice cream now. And the real idea behind Core Power and behind Fairlife was really to make a high quality milk. Start with high quality milk, then process it. We filter it with a ultrafiltration in order to give a little bit more protein and a little bit less sugar. I like to kind of think of it as like a super milk. If you're really looking to pack in that protein and reduce your sugar, it's a really great option. It's also lactose free. And one of the really cool things that I love about, Fairlife is when Fairlife really started, there wasn't a ton of innovation in the dairy products category. We all think about, the gallon of milk, like the jug of milk that has been the same for a really, really long time, that clear plastic jug that we all know and love. But with new consumers and new generations coming up, they wanted more from their products. They wanted products that I think just looked a little bit flashier, from the packaging to what the actual product was offering. And so I think Fairlife really met that demand in being, a little bit more innovative. That additional protein and less sugar gave those consumers exactly what they were looking for. So back in 2012, Fairlife, which was then the company that Select had started, partnered with the Coca-Cola Company to be our distributors. This was obviously a major step for us, as we are dairy farmers, not milk distributors. Bringing Fairlife really, changed things for us, and being able to be a national brand that was in stores nationwide. Ultimately in 2020, Fairlife bought the rest of the company. And so Coca-Cola now is the sole owner of Fairlife, but the original Fairlife and Fairlife and Core Power was started right here in New Mexico. There is a plant in Artesia. That was the original plant. There are 99 dairy farm families that are part of Select, and that are the families behind Fairlife and our mission and our goals of providing a high quality milk for people. Now we have plants in the Midwest as well as in Arizona. And we have originally, it started out with just dairy farms in New Mexico and Texas. Now we have dairy farms in Arizona as well as several states in the Midwest. So we've really grown and expanded over the last about 7 years. But our goal has remained the same, to provide that high quality product. And so with that, I'll kind of maybe open it up to some questions. I know my product, I feel like, is a little bit different, like that it's, there's a lot of us that all created this. And one of the things I did want to mention that Heather mentioned about pecans is a lot of people don't know about dairy in New Mexico. Even other dairy producers in other states often don't know how much dairy New Mexico has to offer, and what we offer exactly, beyond just Fairlife and Core Power being the national brand. We have lots of cheese plants, including where I'm located here in Clovis, New Mexico. We have Southwest Cheese, the world's largest cheddar cheese plant. And so there's just a lot to offer in New Mexico agriculture that I think always surprises people that are not from our state. And really, what goes better with chili than, a good slice of cheese, right? Or a big glass of milk if it's spicy. So I'll go ahead and see if you guys have any questions for me.
All right, any questions for Tara?
You guys can't let me off easy.
Well, you have me to deal with still. While we're waiting for other questions, if there are any, I take a lot of pride in that, in the Fairlife and the Core Power, because it did start here in New Mexico, and it started with a group of dairy farmers who were really light years ahead of their time. They were even ahead of FDA, right, Tara?
Yes.
Back in the early days, FDA would not approve that plant at Dexter. And we had to run through some trials in the Department of Agriculture, and I went over there and had to tour the plant, and my dairy team went through that new plant, with a fine-tooth comb, and everything was perfect. and we had to sign off on it as a Department of Agriculture. And the FDA said they could run the product in state for a 6-month trial while they were gathering the data so FDA could approve it. That's how that plant got started, which is really kind of fun and unique that we were as a team, and I call it Team New Mexico, got that process all started, and really it's just kind of cool. So
It is.
any questions?
I think the whole process has been, I mean, just to be like a group of dairy farmers and really like they just believed in this product so much. And there was a lot of curveballs and, you know, a lot of work along the way. I mean, the fact, like, if you ever had seen our original product, Athlete's Honey Milk, it was a really great product, but the marketing and packaging behind it needed work to where we're at today with Core Power and Fairlife. But they just stayed with it. They had such a vision for just, a better product that they really believe consumers wanted. And I see in the chat a bunch of people saying they love Fairlife, which I love to hear. The chocolate is amazing. And I know a lot of people use it for their homemade yogurt, which I just saw in the comments as well. I see a question from Jamie, I think, or a hand raised.
Yeah. Hi, Tara. First of all, we are Team Fairlife, 100%. My kids drink Fairlife every night before they go to bed. But I do want to ask you, I know in the dairy industry, that consumer education is so vital and so important. And a lot of times there's a lot of hiccups and just a lot of people don't understand the dairy industry. So what do you feel has been the best marketing strategy for Fairlife to kind of break through those? Because you do a phenomenal job on social media and everything that you've done personally, but what do you feel like Fairlife has done to kind of help break through that?
Yeah, so I think they went out really strong and had like a very big, when we went with Coca-Cola and we're really trying to push the national, they did a huge campaign that was just a large push. I remember the first time I saw one of the commercials on TV and was like, oh my gosh, there's our product. And then it was like, whoa, like we saw it a lot. Like, I think there was a really big push. I think they really tried to have a story behind it, which, as we know, with any product, anything, telling people a story has such a bigger impact. They had Mike and Sue McCloskey, the founders of Select Milk Producers, in that original commercial. And I just think people connected with them, related to them, seeing a face. The bottle of Fairlife had their signatures on it and a note, and it just connected people, to the families that were behind it. Yeah, there was more families than just Mike and Sue, but it just gave them someone to connect with. And I also think for a lot of parents, that product, as far as the high protein and low sugar, was really something they were looking for. And so by pushing that in the campaigns as well, I think did really well. I know, and I saw it in like maybe non-traditional places, kind of. I felt like the commercials were really well targeted to the people doing the grocery shopping, to young moms that were going to be providing it for, food for their kids and things. And so I think they've just done a great job while being a national brand, connecting it back to that original story, and, really hitting home with that high quality milk, high protein and low sugar aspect. So I hope that kind of helps answer that question.
Yeah, that definitely does. And like you said, that's what sold it for me, for my kids. Both of them have a lot of stomach issues, yeah. And the Fairlife has been the only milk that will help, that they can drink, honestly.
Well, and I think at the time when Fairlife came out, it was like lactate, I think, was one of the only choices on the market. And it felt very, I don't know, like I feel like the ads were geared towards a certain type of person, very like prescriptive, like your doctor said this. Whereas Fairlife was like, it's still regular milk, it's just also lactose free. And so it was, I think it was the way it was marketed, in that it was very strategic. We have a lot of people that, are self-diagnosed, or that they just assume they kind of might have a lactose problem. And so to be able to buy like the regular milk for whether it's you or your kids that also was lactose free, I think that went a long way as well, from people I've talked to that are specifically looking for a lactose free product.
All right. Any other questions?
Hey, so I just really want to thank Tara, and she's really special to us and to the dairy industry, and special to dairy producers of New Mexico. And if you don't already follow her at New Mexico Milkmaid, please do. Or if you know somebody that doesn't, I encourage you to do so. She's amazing. Thank you, Tara.
Thank you, Kay. Yeah, feel free to follow me. I'm pretty much everywhere as the New Mexico Milkmaid. I try to share about dairy. I try to share a little bit about olive agriculture, beef, and I try to share a little bit about obviously New Mexico and all that New Mexico has to offer as well. So there's a little bit of variety in there of what I share about.
Cool. All right. Any other questions? You know, as we're wrapping up today, just an observation. You've got Heather, who has turned pecans into something special and local. You've got Randy, who has taken chili to a new horizon. You've got Rick and his family who have taken jerky to a new horizon. And you've got Tara and the dairy producers who have created Fairlife milk and made milk something more than just a commodity. And I think that's a secret to success in when you're marketing, and you've got super marketers here that we're presenting today that have really showcased how to be successful. And, you know, we talked about the success. I'm sure there was a lot of challenges in the background. We talked about some of those today, but really, you know, if we can just get several more New Mexico businesses out there marketing direct to the consumer, we're going to grow this state. And as we in the marketing era of agriculture talk about $5 at a time, $5 a week, every time you purchase $5 more of New Mexico products, and we will grow New Mexico. So with that, I want to turn it over to Zach for some more door prizes. And if there's more questions for the speakers today, put them in the chat and we'll get to them here shortly.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get us some winners for the remaining door prizes. So the next two door prizes are provided again by the Rocky Mountain Farmers Union. They include the soap, the coasters, and the keychain. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel. Congrats, Max. If you're present, please let us know, unmute yourself or send us a message in the chat.
He's there.
Yeah, I'm here. Perfect. We'll go ahead and spin the wheel again. Awesome. Is Mariah Bates present?
Hi, I'm here.
Congrats. Enjoy. So this next door prize was provided by the New Mexico Department of Agriculture. And this one includes a custom-made New Mexico Taste of Tradition wooden cutting board. Let me go ahead and stop sharing real quick. Sorry about that. Yeah, so this next one, it includes the Taste of Tradition wooden cutting board, the AgriFuture logo, and the Taste of Tradition logo. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel. Congrats, Jason. If you're present, please unmute yourself or send us a chat.
Hi, I'm here, Zach.
Awesome. Enjoy. Okay. So for these next three door prizes, again, they're provided by the Rocky Mountain Farmers Union, which include the soap, coasters, and keychain. So let's take a spin. Congrats. Is Francisco present?
I'm here.
Awesome, congratulations. Go ahead and spin again. Is Caitlin Bradley present?
I am here.
Awesome, congratulations. For the final prize from the Rocky Mountain Farmers Union. Is Stephanie present today?
Yes, she's mentioned in the chat. She's here.
Perfect. And then our final door prize is provided by the New Mexico Cattle Growers Association. And this is a membership to the New Mexico Farm and Ranch Heritage Museum. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel for our final door prize. Congratulations, Elizabeth. Is Elizabeth present today?
Yes,
She's
she
here.
is here.
Awesome, congrats. And with that, that'll conclude the door prizes and I'll pass it back to Jeff.
All right, as we wrap up today, is there any final questions for our speaker set today? I don't see any hands raised. I want to thank the speakers. I want to thank Heather for putting together the boxes. And I know there's some other stuff in the boxes that we didn't cover today, but Heather, you do an amazing job with these boxes, and thank you. Randy, thank you for sharing your experience in what you do with your business. Rick, thank you for the same, for sharing and your experiences and your successes and what you're doing with beef and the jerky business and how you market all across the United States and a few of the territories for that. And then Tara, thank you as well for sharing how the dairy industry has taken milk to a whole new level. With that, I want to wrap up by introducing Jamie Veramonte. Where are you at, Jamie? I know you. There you are.
I'm here.
There you are. To wrap us up. So thank you. And Jamie, it's all yours to wrap up.
Hi, everyone. Coming to you from Deming. I really enjoyed today's conference and all the speakers. They were so wonderful. As an agriculture industry, I think we learned today that we know everything is really better when we work together. So conferences such as AgriFutures really help us to do just that. Today was a great showcase of what New Mexico agriculture is truly doing and how it's helping the entire industry of agriculture. And I highly recommend that you consider joining next year's AgriFuture conference in person. Conferences like this are a great way to network with each other, learn from each other, and make new collaborations together. I plan on attending next year's conference, and I really hope to see you there.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. That was great.
Thank you.
Thanks,
That's awesome.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.